This week's word of the week will be brief. Let's take a look. Atomos. Our word of the week is atomos. Indivisible due to smallness, and later on came to be known as a moment. Atomos. Our English word atom is obviously built in here. For a long time, humanity believed that the atom was the smallest unit of matter. It was the irreducible, can't break it down any farther unit of matter, maybe further. It's as small as something gets is the notion of the word atomos. Atomos comes from tomos, which means something that's cuttable, that comes from the verb temno, I cut. And so atomos is something that can't be cut. So the idea was using human hands and the naked eye without the addition of technology. This was as small as you could cut something down. You couldn't break it into any smaller part. That's what atomos is, or atomos. And in the pre-Socratic world, this was almost always used up to and through Socrates and Plato. This was always used to describe matter. So we're talking about stuff, the smallest bit of stuff. But then along comes Aristotle, and Aristotle takes the word atomos and applies it to time, the smallest unit of observable time. Like, how short of a period can you notice? And so this is where we get the extrapolation from atomos, meaning uncuttable or irreducible or indivisible, down to the notion of being a moment, a brief glimmer in time, just the shortest little bit of time. For a hobby, I am a photographer, and my camera can slice a second into 5,000 pieces. So the shortest exposure that I can do with my camera is 1/5,000th of a second. But think about a technology-less world. Think about the days of Aristotle. The briefest measure of time that you're capable of is the shortest thing that you can notice, right? Is it a flash of lightning? What is it? Whatever it is, that's the word that we're dealing with here when we're talking about a moment, atomos, the briefest observable period of time. So in the biblical use, this is what's called a hapax legomenon. This is a word that only occurs once in the New Testament, and it's referring to time in this instance, not to matter. So we're talking about the smallest noticeable length of time, and Paul uses it in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. It's in verse 52, but I'm going to read 51 and 52 so we get the full context. This is Paul writing about the resurrection. "Behold, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, en atomo." So this is the dative case, because with en, the word being modified by the preposition en is in the dative case. En atomo, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we shall be changed. So, en atomo, in a moment, in the briefest observable period of time. He follows this up with, in the twinkling of an eye. Now I'm going to ask you a question. What the heck is the twinkling of an eye? How does a person's eye twinkle? Is that a reflection? Is that a sunspot? What is that? Well, let's look. I'm going to just read to you what Paul actually wrote. He wrote, en hripe ophthalmou, en hripe ophthalmou. And hripe is throwing. So something being thrown like a spear, a javelin, or a rock. So if you throw something from ripto or rapidzo, right? And so what we're talking about here is literally in the throwing of an eye. How do you throw your eye? You throw your eye every time that you change what you're focused on. And is that a lengthy process? Is that something that takes a long time to do? Do you say to yourself, I'm now going to throw my eye from where I'm looking to where I will be looking? Okay, 1, 2, 3, here I go. No, you don't, right? The focus of your eye changes in a virtual instant. You can look all about, you see all kinds of different things, and it takes you almost no time at all. Particularly if something catches your eye, the change in focus is like lightning fast, right? So look at the two ways that Paul describes this. He says when the resurrection takes place and humans go through a change, the change is going to be so sudden, it's going to be so fast that we can think of it in the irreducible unit of observable time for humans. In such a short stretch of time that it's as little piece of it as you can observe. Just like the time it takes for you to shift focus of your eye from one thing to another. It's that fast, it's that brief a period of time, it's that irreducible, it's that indivisible unit of time, that which you can't make smaller without the use of advanced technology. Pretty magnificent stuff. Atomos, a moment, the irreducible because of its smallness. That's how quickly, that's how suddenly, that's how almost imperceptibly the change will be, according to Paul in 1 Corinthians 15. Atomos, our word of the week because it's awesome. When you think about that passage, when you read in 1 Corinthians 15, remember what Paul says. The change that will come will be so fast, will be so sudden as to be virtually imperceptible. Boom, done, over, atomos. Thanks for watching today. I hope that was good for you. If it was, please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I told you we'd be brief, and I hope I kept my word. And until next time, Karis Kairene Humin, grace and peace to you.